Okay, let's get into it. Hey, what's up,
Yeah.
everybody? We don't want to
already into
blow
it.
our load before. Oh shit! Yeah, we're already into it. Fuck. All right. Okay.
Shit.
Well, we're talking about. Yeah, we'll stick with the pop culture. I think. She-Hulk. All the things. Okay, I'm just gonna say the statement again. All the things that are supposed to be good in our lives sucks, and then all the things that are bad in our lives suck still. Like it just. Anyway, everything just kind of sucks.
For your
right now,
dose
but-
of
Yeah,
positivity
positivity
on a Friday.
on a Friday. Okay, let's talk She-Hulk.
What can you say? Like what can you say? I don't like. I mean,
Okay, I was talking to Ryan about this.
Okay.
And She-Hulk, the animation in She-Hulk, or the CGI shit, reminds me of the very first
me
Hulk.
too. That's what I. Okay,
And so
I
we were
literally told
watching.
my buddy exactly the same thing. I was just like, it looks like Ang Lee's Hulk
Yes.
from like what was that 2002?
Yeah. You're like, what?
Yeah.
What happened?
who-
when
yeah,
did we,
what happened?
we went
And-
back in time
I
on
know.
technology,
and
or
then,
what?
and then like
Or they just put so little budget
they've
into
been
it?
doing the Hulk for how 10 years, 12 years, so it should be like nothing. Like
Yeah.
you puts the mocap suit on, they
Bam,
put her on
bam,
the stilts,
bam, done.
Like
Yeah.
that's it. Like what the hell? Like I don't. Yeah. Like and then the whole like. Why are I just? It's
No, like the biggest cringe moment, and I don't know why this is a cringe moment. People can dissect my mental problems afterwards, but like when she picks the dude up to take
it was
him to
just
the,
all wrong.
the bedroom,
Yeah, it was just all wrong.
I was just like,
but it's that weird.
what? And it's not like a macho man, like it should be the other way around thing. No, it was just like, this is so clichédly cheesy.
You know what should have been?
forced. It's like,
Okay, do you know how you write that scene? You know how you write that scene?
you don't.
No, you do. You can. But you know how you write it?
Okay.
Okay. It's him trying to pick her up.
Mm.
Like have a macho
Yeah.
guy, and the last
Yeah.
thing of the trailer, he's like,
Yeah.
and then she's like rolling
And-
her eyes.
Right.
Like, and
Good
just
call.
cut it there.
Good
and
call.
just cut it there. Because
Good
he
call.
does everything that they were trying to do and not cringe.
Yeah.
And like, why? And we talked about it before, but it's like, why do they keep writing the same female characters over and over and over? It's like, oh,
The same way.
The same way. It's like, it's like, oh, I'm so hip. I don't care about anything. Like, I don't want to be a superhero. It's just, and you're just like, that's not what we're going to sit down and like watch. And it's not a man or woman or anything. It's literally just, it's like after my week of shit, I don't want to sit down and just like watch that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, like the story of like the guy that gets like, okay, so Spider-Man's the best example where he's like, I got these powers.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a superhero,
Right.
but I should be because, well, you can't beat the Uncle Ben
Yeah,
mantra.
that's right.
With
It's just,
great power comes great responsibility. You
but
know,
there's
like,
nothing about see. That's exactly the problem. There is no responsibility.
Oh, there's no reason for any of
there's
this.
There's no responsibility at all. Like anybody who's basically, I'm being generous, but call it, and speaking generally, 30 and under has basically been told their whole lives, you don't have to be responsible for anything.
That's very true.
Like, why? Like, you don't have to, it's not whatever it is, it's not your fault.
Yeah.
It's not your fault.
And
it's
now,
not,
the superheroes are emulating that.
That's right, because those are the writers. Like, because the writers grew up like that, and then they're coming in and saying, like that line, the other cringe line was like, it's triggered by like anger and fear. And she's like, oh, that's like my baseline of existing.
Yeah.
It's like, come on.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know, like, I don't know. People need to take a closer look at society and just where the whole thing is with women and men and stuff like that. Like, the amount of women I talk to that are in like extremely powerful, extremely like well sought after positions is way higher than we give it credit for.
Yeah, that's right.
And so like the this whole like, oh, woe is the woman. No.
Yeah.
I think that, okay, maybe women have more trouble with it because they have to work harder and like they do have maybe some more roadblocks, but the women that make it through that, they do really well.
Of course.
And this whole like, oh, whoa, women thing, like that whole line they pull in the Hulk, it's like, that's a really bad way of communicating that issue.
Yeah.
I like just show that she pushed through and show that she was like, yeah, here I am, right?
And I don't even know if they had that, like, which again, like, and they didn't make it clear in the trailer, which is odd that they didn't, because the
trailer was a fucking comedy.
Yeah, like
I didn't like that.
But in the comics, like, she gets in an accident, I think, and Banner
and he gives her a blood transfusion,
so
which
it's like
causes
unintended.
Exactly.
And then it's like that's the same thing. It's like thrust on her.
Yes.
And then she's like, "Fuck! Like, how do I?
What did you do?
What did you do to me? Like, what am I now? Like."
Then there's that, like, you can go with that journey of discovery of like what this
the
is
hero's
now.
journey.
Here's
like,
who I am.
I mean, yeah.
Like and that was the beauty of, I think, of all the old school Marvel stuff, was it was the journey that kids could go on with a character they could relate to, and then or a feeling or just a circumstance or a situation. They can go on this journey of how to deal with it, and it just makes sense. It's a story of what we all go through in life, of like, with whether you were a different colored person, whether you had a disability or whichever, you could go on this journey of like, well, there's a way to get through it, and there's a light at the end of the tunnel, kind of thing.
Yeah,
they've just thrown all that
and they've thrown it out, and then that's the thing. It's like, by throwing all of that out and leaning on these like awful tropes. You don't, like, the audience won't even understand why they don't like it. It's so subconscious. It's so embedded in us to like want to be entertained by certain things that people will watch it and just not feel it, like not get connected. And then you end up with like whatever the hell they end up with now.
I have a weird fear now, and I was talking about this with Pernita the other day, was I stopped collecting comics because the stories became irrelevant. The stories were like dumb. And then I started buying like the last stint of my comic buying era was all about the art. Like it was about like, oh, like how, like, I like this artist, I like the way he draws, and then the story just disappeared.
Whatever.
Right. But the early days, like when I was like 10, 12 years old, it was all about the stories were just awesome. Like they were just really unique. You could go through this journey. You couldn't wait for, and where I was, we didn't get comics. We got comics like once a month. So it was like, I couldn't wait for the next month to get, the end of that story, the next part of that story. Then they started doing crossovers, and then you were buying like, okay, I had Superman, then I had to go and buy Justice League, and then I had to go buy like Guy Gardner, and then I had to go buy like, all these different comics, and you just kind of got open into this world. That's genius marketing. That's genius storytelling. That's what they did with the first Avengers, where you were doing these crossovers with those hidden scenes where you're like, okay, well, now I got to go watch the Hulk. Right? Instead of just sticking with Iron Man for 20 movies. Now I'm going to go watch the Hulk, but I get a little phase of Iron Man in there. And then now I got to go watch, Captain America, and I'll get a little phase of Iron Man in there. And like the story, the parents, it was awesome storytelling.
And they did, and at the core of it, all of those characters, all the Avengers, and they did a couple of them dirty, which I'll talk about in a minute. But they all had, you were watching them evolve, watching their journey. You were watching, and it's like, and that was the other thing, that was the other line that pissed me off, was the She-Hulk. Like, oh, I don't want to be a superhero. They're all narcissists and orphans. It's like, oh, I'm sorry their parents died. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry that Tony Stark had to give his life to save literally the universe. Was he? Oh, you weren't a fan of his personality, were you? Like, oh, I'm sorry.
If they take that away from him,
but that's what I mean. Like, it's like
through shitty follow up.
Because they're already shitting on Thor. Like, he's a goof. And
why is it all calm? Like,
because that's all they can write.
Why is it all comedy?
That's all they can write. They can't write anything that has any like stakes.
And it feels forced too. Like with Iron Man, God, like Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, come on, right? Dude, like it's just, but it's the writers. But it was the writers, right? Favreau and those guys. And
but even like his delivery, his timing on that delivery. But like, it was not like forced comedy. It was one line,
little things.
They didn't pause for you to laugh at it. It was like a one line. You keep going. Right. I felt like even watching the She-Hulk trailer, it's almost like they had like
they should have been a laugh track.
Maybe it was right. Maybe it was like the way that the preview was cut up. Or like the promo was cut up, but it almost felt like there was beats for laughter. And I was
Yeah.
like, this comes borderline bad acting,
Yeah.
bad graphics,
Yeah.
and crap story.
Yeah.
Like I
crap
just
writing.
crap
Yeah.
writing. And so then I'm really worried about.
Like it makes me mad because the same thing happened with X-Men,
Mhm.
where it's like the best X-Men movie was they literally just took the story.
Yep.
They probably sat down. They're like, here's Days of Future. Here's the Days of Future Past. I think it was like 3 comics, 4 comics, something.
Yep.
Here you go. Here you go. Here you go. Okay, read it. Okay, we all got it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's write
turn
the
into a
screenplay.
movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's turn it into a movie. How does it? And if Peter Jackson can do that with Lord of the, like, if he literally, they're like, we're filming this, like, we're filming all of these scenes, and then we'll make it work as a movie. We'll cut it to be a movie, but we're filming all of this shit. It's like, I don't get why you have 50 years of amazing stories and you're like, let's hire this 28-year-old activist who's written, and if you look at their credits, none of them have done anything. That's the weird thing. Like, what do they? It's literally like,
we should move to Hollywood, man. I mean, we can get a gig.
Apparently, they're like, oh, watch your podcast, or want to write a $100 million television show. It's like, it's insanity. And so it's like, what do they think is going to happen? Like, it's so, it's like this, this one girl, oh, I wrote a book about how, gender fluidity. Oh,
you should write an X-Men movie.
Have you thought about writing an X-Men movie?
What?
It's just, like, you have to get, and then Russo brothers, it's like, they come out, it's like that new Gray Man movie. Like, it's a friggin' Netflix movie, but it's like, they're just too good.
Yeah.
Like, they're just too good. So it's like, it looks amazing.
Yes.
It's
the
like, it's crazy. And it's hundreds of millions of dollars. Like, that's the thing. It's like, they're not even like, okay, we're going to give you a chance. Here's a budget of 1 million. Do this, like, we'll do this one shot pilot and then we'll, like, release it, see how it goes. They're giving them the whole fucking thing.
And just let it roll.
Let it roll.
Yeah, put it all on red. See what happens.
It was like the guys doing the guy's doing Lord of the
the new
Rings
one?
of Power.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, you look at it, it's like, well, they helped write Star Trek Beyond, the worst fucking Star Trek movie I've ever made. They helped.
Yeah.
That's what they did.
Let's give them the lead on this project.
Let's give them $1 billion.
Well, they're saying, like, if that Lord of the Rings thing flops or whatever,
it's flopping. I'm telling you, it's flopping. It's like guaranteed.
They'll be in big trouble because that'll be a lot of money down the tube.
Yeah, but what, billion to Amazon? What's that?
That's true, I guess. Yeah, right? To Amazon. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But I mean, that's the thing. Like, it's just what? It's like, how much money has to get flushed down the toilet and burned until somebody wakes up and like, Netflix
politicians
said that.
do it on a daily basis. What are you talking about? The bar has been set.
Yeah. But like that released the culture memo from the Netflix CEO. He's like, no, we're making cool shit. And if you don't like it, go find another job.
Yeah. I like that idea you mentioned just a little while back there, where you're like, take one story, then just do that story.
Yeah.
Don't think about the future.
Right.
And I think that, and that's a great point you bring up. I think Marvel might be starting to overthink it, and it, like, where Favreau and those guys came in and they would look at a story and they read, like, when they wrote Iron Man. What was great about Iron Man was, like, you didn't really know what was going to come next.
Yeah.
And that's what the excitement was. We're like, whoa, like, what are they going to do?
Because they had the whole Marvel universe ahead of them, and you're like, so you're like, okay, like, and then even like Tony, like, the first hour of Iron Man 1.
Yeah.
That's Iron Man #1. Like, that's like
the whole comic.
The whole comic.
Yep.
Like, that's
much.
him getting building the suit to get out of the cave. Like, that shit is that was just straight Iron Man, right?
Well, and the arc, like, they told that character so freaking well. Like, just the arc of, like, okay, he was like he was the narcissist billionaire moron.
Yeah.
Was like, I got boatloads of money.
Yeah.
I don't have to be responsible for my
medicating
responsibilities.
myself with alcohol.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Whatever. And then he goes through that incident. It's life-changing. We're going to stop selling weapons. Then this whole arc of just like his evolution to the end where he's like self-sacrificing and he has a kid and a wife.
Yeah.
And you're like, damn, like
but they don't want that. See, that's the thing. It's like that's too
so good.
That's too
That's
like,
too good.
It is. It's like Tony Stark. That's exactly right. Like episode 1, so Iron Man 1, fucking like you said, narcissist, asshole, drunk, and then they even spent 3 or 4 movies. He still wasn't getting it right.
Yeah.
Because it's like, no, you can be a hero and still be a narcissist. Like, he was still doing it for himself. Yeah. And it took him getting a family.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was the incident in Avengers with the aliens, and then he has his family, and then he's like, I
can't give it up.
I can't protect my family from interdimensional space aliens.
Yeah.
I need to go to the next level, which led into Ultron. Like just the way that it
I think Ultron was more important than people gave it credit for.
Hands down.
That movie.
I think so too. Like just that whole like the meaning of Ultron being the suit of armor around the world. It wasn't to protect the world necessarily, it was to protect him and his family.
Yeah.
Of the PTSD and fear that he went through of seeing like, oh my Lord, like there's so much more than just Earth. Yeah. There's universes and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And like if you could look at the metaphorical, the underlying meaning of that whole lead up to Infinity War.
Right. It's crazy.
Yeah, like that is great storytelling.
Right.
And where you are in your life, you can interpret it differently, but like that is great storytelling to make you think like, well, why did he do this? Like we had a character that had a purpose.
Yeah.
And that and even though it was a self-righteous a self-purpose to just protect him and his family, it was a purpose and that was the undertone from beginning to end.
Right.
Was like he was somebody who had no purpose, didn't give a rat's ass of anything, found purpose, saw a problem, found purpose, and died for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's crazy, right?
Gnarly.
Like, you don't get that anymore. Yeah. And they did that, and going back to it, it's like Thor had an arc where it's like, he's just a punk kid, never grew up. He's the man child, right?
But he always had that purpose.
But he was like, but at the same time, it's like growing up as a king, or growing up to be a king, to groom to be a king.
Yeah.
It gives you that, and it's funny. It's like juxtaposed with sort of like the Harry and what's her name? See, they'll forget you, Megan.
Megan.
But that idea that
Merkel, right?
But that idea that, like, I'm groomed to be a king, and what I learned was that it's not just given to you. You have to. You have to give of you had a good dad. You have to give of yourself, right? And then you had to get stripped down to nothing.
Mm-hmm.
To learn the lesson, right? And it's like,
see, I want them, I'm going to hit 2 things.
Yeah.
One, I want them to do that with a female character.
Oh, I know, but they can't, exactly. But they can't.
Like, why can't they tell, they've done this with all the guys.
Yeah.
I feel like they're robbing the girls.
1,000%.
Girls from that opportunity by not doing that
that's the irony.
Give one of these women a purpose.
Yeah.
Black Widow was always a background character, right? This
they did her dirty.
Captain Marvel was just given
powers,
just
handed to,
and then forced to fight just because she was duped into it. Really, like she was like duped into becoming who she was.
Yeah.
There is that journey, a bit of self-discovery, but it's
very superficial. It's a very superficial,
very much meaning to it. So. If they can do that with Black Panther's sister,
I forget her name.
Yes,
she. No, or is that the guard? Or is that the the guard?
If they could do that with her, because I think amazing. I think she's an awesome character, really good actor. I think too. Like I think she's just her delivery, her chemistry, and I mean that might have been her and Chadwick, having that great chemistry too. But she's just a cool character. Like I could get behind her pretty hard. Like I think she's awesome. okay, so that's that. I want to go back to Thor because I want to lead into. Did you see the new Thor trailer
Yeah,
release?
that's kind of what
okay.
kind of rattled me.
Yeah. Okay. Arguably, could you say that Loki is a better character backstory
Well, he had
than Thor?
up until his show, he had the better arc.
I think so too.
You know, he did because they
being the adopted frost giant
Yes.
baby from a king that
Yeah.
decimated his people and or beat his people up and
Yeah.
then took them. Like, what a mind twist story, like origin story,
Yeah.
where Thor's just born a king, you
Yeah,
know,
given
or
it-
a
given
to-be
to-
king
yeah.
given to him
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But this, if they could have dove into a more meaningful, I mean, they did do pretty good. Like Thor's like unrelenting love for Loki, you know, even though he kept on doing bad things. he
Well,
would be
and
like, "Hey,
Loki's
man, I'm still
unrelenting
here
love for
you."
his mom too. Like he's like
Yes.
he couldn't help, but it's
Yeah.
like you're my mom. Like you raised
Yeah.
me. Like it doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
even though I'm,
Even- you know, like that's sort of like and that's the thing. Like if you take a baby when it's 2 years old or 1 year old,
Yeah.
and you raise it, like it's your mom, right?
Yeah, see, like there's some missed
she's your mom. So-
opportunities there.
Right. So they had that. So they like touched a little, like, you know, in Dark World where he's like, you know, is where she gets killed, and then that almost brings the brothers together.
Yeah.
You know, kind of in a way.
Yeah.
And so in a lot of ways, they did a disservice by the Loki show should have been like in chronologically,
Yeah.
he should have survived Infinity War.
Right.
And it should have been that Loki, because that Loki makes more sense
Yeah.
when he's interacting with, although the story was stupid, but
Yeah.
I mean that Loki you can like watch. They could have skipped all that and they could have like carried on.
Yeah,
But by using Loki from Avengers 1, it's like he's a murdering psychopath. Like he's driven by rage and revenge. You're not gonna like, how is he redeemable at that point? You know,
Well,
he didn't lose his mom yet.
And that's a really good story arc there. Like his story arc and journey through that stint of Marvel movies is good because he was the nut job that
Yeah.
was just thirsting for power. He
Yeah.
wants a planet to rule. Like
It's funny. He didn't even
get
care.
Loki.
Yeah, like that's
right?
the
Like
funny
I
thing.
get Loki. I get what he is and why
right.
he's doing what he's doing. And you get Stark. You get why he is the way
Yeah.
he is because he was a spoiled, rotten brat that was neglected by his parents, and he's just a
and he's
punk.
blessed with intellect.
Yeah, and now he's got to like, oh crap, I got to show responsibility. Loki was like, all right. Loki didn't really know his backstory
until he
did.
discovered it. He discovered it when
with the Tesseract.
with the was that a Tesseract or was that the frost giant weapon? The blue.
You're
the
right.
cube.
Yeah, because it didn't it didn't like hurt
his
him.
hand. Yeah, his hand came.
that's
right, and then so then the betrayal, like the feeling of betrayal, where like,
Yeah.
oh, that's why you guys never. It was all about Thor. It was never about me. It's actually because I'm not even your kid, you know. And then I should have been, if you had left me on my home planet, I would have been a king because I would have. That was my father, and I would have been.
And that
king
was
there.
stripped away.
I would have been Thor.
So you get Loki, like you get his
and that
passion
idea
and
of
his
like
idea,
in Avengers 1 where he just makes a deal with the devil, like he makes a deal with Thanos, and it's literally like, I don't give a shit, just give me a planet. I'll take this.
I just want to be a king.
Like I'll just take this shitty Earth planet. Like I don't care. I just need to rule over something, right? That's a very like visceral.
Yeah.
It's the 9-year-old pouting, like it's the guy throwing a tantrum, right?
And that was like the digestible comical relief of Loki was like even like in when it was what was it Thor Ragnarok when he was on that island and he's like, yo, my peons, and like just that was the digestible comical relief that was not too over the top because you're like, he's just, we know that that's the way he is, and he's just been that way.
Well,
the whole
like
time.
and even when he comes back and Loki's was it in Dark World where Loki is took over Asgard? Pretending to be his dad.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, I thought you were dead. Yeah. The there's a scene we rewatch it over and over and over. And it's Mark Ruffalo's genius. but there's this part where they've got Loki tied up and they're getting ready to escape that world
planet,
there, the planet, and Ruffalo comes in because he can't turn into the Hulk, and he's like, are you still a murdering bloodlust savage or whatever? And Loki looks at him and goes, it varies from moment to moment. And the look, Ruffalo, he's like oh man, we laughed so hard at that. We replayed. But anyway, okay, so right now let's just jump into Thor. So, okay, like arguably Loki, I think there was a lot of potential there. Super awesome story build up at the beginning with, the parents, the king being taken away. Now we're going into Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
Jane shows up.
Yeah. For what and what? Like, and why? We don't know.
The other thing I just feel like they've taken the meaning of he who should be worthy shall wield the power of Thor.
Yeah.
But too many people have picked that hammer up. Like Captain America, I get.
That was awesome.
Right?
Because that was like the greatest thing.
Yeah. Captain America,
and Vision I get too, because Vision is like was pure
right
at that moment. Right.
So I get
he was like,
but just a random human that we have really no real backstory on.
Yeah.
She showed up. She was just a human who thought he was hot and helped him out. That's all we've got from Jane. We don't. She's never sacrificed her life. She was unbeknownst taken by the ether.
Yeah.
She hasn't done anything of
note since
like noteworthy worthiness to hold Mjolnir.
Yeah. But we don't know. I guess we don't know why it came about.
We haven't seen that yet. Yeah.
But even that idea of, it was in Infinity War where, he says, oh, my hammer was like forged in the heart of a star, and it's like, at Neverdalia or whatever, and then, we should. Then he's like, oh, we should all get those weapons, and he says, well, you guys, your frail bodies would fail, and your mind, you'd go insane. Well, then how can Jane hold it? Like Captain America is one thing because he's a superhuman. Yeah. Right. But Jane Foster?
Yeah.
And then also, I'm sorry, looks like fucking cosplay.
Yeah. When they showed him when he's like, Jane? And then they showed a close up on his face and one eye is being covered by his helmet. I'm like, oh, like you've taken all.
It's like clown shoe.
Oh,
like it's
man.
like, it's, even his helmet, like they've lost that like Asgardian mythical, like I liked it when he would just walk around. He was wearing normal stuff, but then when he like the hammer would come, like the lightning would come, and he would get his armor.
Yeah, it would like,
that kind of feeling, and like, and I thought that was a missed opportunity too. I thought in Endgame when he decides, okay, it's time to be Thor again, and we got to beat this guy. I always thought that his like fatness
just disappear.
I thought that it was like his fatness was like sort of like
a belief in himself kind of thing.
It was almost like a physical manifestation of of him being screwed up or his like emotional problems. Yeah. But then once he like, came back and like understood, I thought when that lightning would hit, it would just be like same thing like armor, like and then like shred him up. And it didn't. So I'm like, okay, well, whatever. Yeah. But like that the costumes look bad.
I don't even know what to say.
The costumes look bad. And then that's another thing too. Like you can't, and this is just, it's an aesthetic thing, but like Jane Foster, like fuck, if she puts a helmet on, make it so the lightning eyes, like at least so they're like glowing eyes, not whatever the hell that was. Like, or it was just like like it looks like cosplay. Like it does. Like it looks. The costume design is shit.
There's a level of like where you follow the comics, and then there's a level where you just don't.
Right.
You
got to know what works.
You just got to know exactly, right? Like what works, and then the audiences today, like I don't know if they're just trying to bring back that comical vibe or what it is.
No, what it is, and this is exactly what it is. Okay, so I'm gonna. When it was Marvel Studios, okay? They said it a million times. Like, they loved the idea when they would hire a filmmaker, to make a certain type of movie, okay? So what would happen is it was really good. They said like so, Thor was the fantasy film, right? So they hired a director that made fantasy films.
Yeah.
Winter Soldier was like the spy thriller.
Yes.
So the
That's a good
Russos
call.
make
Yeah,
the
yeah.
spy thriller,
Yeah.
right? and the Ant-Man was the heist, the buddy, like the
Yes.
heist comedy, right?
Yeah.
So
All three of those genres I love.
yeah, well, so good. But it's like so they just say, okay, we're banging one thing out at a time. But what happens is you have Disney come in, and now you have a sort of like an overarching studio running the movie. So you end up with you're back to where they were when it was like Warner Brothers runs DC, right? Now Disney runs Marvel. So if Taika Waititi comes out and makes like a Ragnarok, which I still think Ragnarok was like 15-20% too goofy.
Right.
A lot of it was cool,
Yeah.
but it was still like for the stakes, like for Hela.
Yeah, you're
and
losing your planet.
You're losing your
You're
planet.
killing your sister.
You're killing your sister.
Like, what?
She's a lunatic.
Yeah.
Like your dad never told you. You know what I mean?
And
Like
your dad's dead.
Your dad's dead.
Dies in the same
Dies
movie.
in the same movie. Then you find out your dad was a murdering psychopath too for
Yeah.
like thousands of years and was going around massacring everybody. Like all of these things. And it was just like, we're so goofy. Like,
Yeah.
and it was just Jeff Goldblum
Yeah.
being Jeff Goldblum, which he was awesome. Like,
He
I mean,
was.
that whole planet, like everything that happened on that planet was perfect, but they didn't, but the problem is you're degrading Thor as you go along slowly.
Yeah, when you're
chipping
when you're
away.
taking away the importance of the
Right.
moment with comedy,
Right.
What
and then
what
you
is
start, and then the
serious
people,
anymore?
right? And then the
What's
people,
meaningful anymore?
right,
Yeah,
you know, and then the characters in it start to be goofs.
Yeah.
And then once they start to be goofs, nothing they do.
Well, even if they're not even intentionally trying to be goofs, they're
Yes.
seen as goofs
Yeah.
because of just
Yeah.
the whole the context of the
Right.
situation.
There was a really good video that talked about if you boil down circumstances and something happens because the hero of your story is an idiot,
Yeah,
it's automatically wrong.
right.
Like your hero of your story nothing can happen to them because they're stupid.
Yeah,
Because then everything after that is a waste. So Taika Waititi comes and makes this movie, which for the most part worked, was hilarious and fun and did really well. So then in a very movie studio way, Disney's like, make it again.
yeah.
But now you can't make it again. You have to turn it up.
Yeah, add 5-10
It's
more
got-
percent.
right,
Yeah,
right.
And it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
but we were 20% was
Right.
pretty, we were over
already pushing, right.
Yeah. Like, well, no, just
Yeah.
add 15 more percent. It's like, well, and then it's like Hulk's like, wow, we went 100% in.
Yeah.
Or She-Hulk, right?
That's what I mean. And it's like, and then you have like, again, Gore, like the God Butcher. Fucking,
looks dope.
looks crazy.
Oh, he looks good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, and he does. So I'm like, fuck, like you're wasting Christian Bale. You're wasting that character design. He was creepy. He looks creepy.
I'll be upset if they make Christian Bale crack one-liners.
Yeah.
If they make Gore, because he looks so evil in like the footage and it's so
Yeah.
angry. Like, don't make him crack one-liners and take away his purpose.
Right.
Take away his mission. His
Like, I
mission
love his
is
mission.
to
Just kill
them
all the gods. Yeah.
And he's just
Yeah.
like he is, and he's on top of that insanely powerful and like damn near unstoppable.
Yeah.
Keep his relevance important and on track.
Yeah.
Make him run his path.
Yeah.
Don't start going like, oh, all of a sudden he's like, oh, like, you know, like goofy. Like, don't
No.
do that.
And
Like,
and so and
please don't do that.
And then what do you think? So honestly, and this is gonna be bad. I think it ends with with the two Thors like lightning him,
Oh, yeah.
and then he kills Thor,
Right.
and Thor like and then like throws the axe to her, and then she does like a Rey Skywalker
Oh,
style
double?
like double something. Like I feel it coming, and I'm not gonna like it. So, you know, that's what I'm worried about. I'm worried that like it's
Oh, I don't even want
you
to
know,
speculate.
it's just Jane can't be Thor in the Avengers. Like it just can't.
But I don't think like it just doesn't feel like they're setting it up for that. Like there's
Well,
just
we'll see.
there's too many like it's like there's a whole new women, like you said in the last episode, there's a whole new like women's division coming up that is I feel is going to be hard. It's like not equality anymore. You know how I don't know if they were trying to push equality before, but now they've just gone like all one direction.
Yeah.
But like the ode, you said it last episode, the ode to the women of Marvel in that scene where they're like, they all got together and were like, yeah, we got this.
Yeah, but it wasn't forced because it's like it was a battlefield.
It was a battlefield,
so
and like they were just there to support each other, and they just went into it and they like kicked ass. Well, I love that. That was like such an awesome, like, you know, like and then, but now we've like forgotten all those characters.
Yeah.
Black Widow's dead. I don't know what the hell's going on with Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
You know, until we see what happens with Black Panther, we're not sure with Black Panther 2. Yeah. You know, and then Potts, I don't.
Yeah, like she's not going to be rescue.
No, like
I don't think she's going to be rescue.
Like I don't even know how Potts is going to come back in and be part of the series. Like Armor Wars is coming.
Yeah.
Ironheart is coming. We've got Chavez, who we haven't even like talked storyline yet. We don't even know who she is, what she is, where she came from. Like we know little tids and tads, but like not like a do I give a crap?
Yeah.
You know, like you know, we introduced the most powerful character arguably the most powerful character in the Marvel universe, and we didn't even tell you who she was.
No.
It's just a random chick that can punch stars into the wall.
Yeah,
and you can go to different universes.
Yeah, it's like
so it's kind of wild. I hope Christian Bale does really well. I would love to see him stick around, like for a couple more. You know, like a little bit longer.
Yeah.
I like to see him take out a few gods.
Yeah.
I like to see him take out Thor. You know, and here's a possibility, just my theory. Takes out Thor, Jane goes on a murderous rampage to try and find him and take him out, but he's out taking out other gods because he doesn't see her as a god.
Right.
Like, it just crushes her. And now she's got this journey of like, I have to figure out what this responsibility means. Like, go back to that story of like, I have to figure out what my meaning is and my purpose is.
Yeah.
But she like seemed to like already have it figured out in the previews.
Yeah, because it seemed like she was already. She's like, oh, I've been the mighty Thor for like 2 years already.
It's my first bad guy.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you always remember. It's like, oh,
yeah,
God,
I don't know.
so
Like,
bad.
I mean, it is bad, and I'm like,
all right, moving on. Today's a big day. We got Obi-Wan coming out, and I think Stranger Things.
Oh shit, I forgot
today too.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And I don't know 100%. I'm going off hearsay there, but it's like Stranger Things is like it's like a 2-part or a 3-part. Like these episodes are like super super long.
Oh,
like they're like it's like a movie.
Oh crap!
From what I understood, I don't know. I might have to clarify that with Ryan.
We'll
but
be watching. We'll be watching those this weekend.
But
too.
that I got to go back because it's been so long since I've.
Yeah, because it has been 2 years since the last. Right? No, 18 months.
Got to be something like that.
Yeah.
I don't even remember where we ended off, but just seeing these previews with these creatures, I'm like, this went dark like fast. Like, what is going on here? This is cool.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited for that. I want to check that out. Obi-Wan, no speculations. We don't want to ruin it for ourselves or anyone else. I don't know. I'm really gun shy now because of that flipping that Mandal or that what's his name? Boba Fett. See, that's how bad it was. I can't remember Boba Fett. I don't know. I'm like really.
I think and it's the same. You know, I go back to this. It was a Star Trek failure, like Star Trek conundrum.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter. The issue is it doesn't matter which actors you bring in, which characters you bring in, which story you want to tell. Doesn't matter if you have the same people making the same crap over and over. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, well, that's the problem with Obi-Wan. It's like, it's the people who did Boba Fett. So
it's like, you guys sucked at that. Let's give you a second chance.
You know, but it's like, so what could it be, right? And it's the same with Star Trek. Like, you know, there's that big reveal on Picard, you know, about Picard, where, you know, next season is the TNG cast. All of them are back.
Oh,
they they banged out like Michael Dorn, Brent Spiner.
Like, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but as a rabid, like, I'm Star Trek first, Star Wars, you know, then Star Wars. as a rabid fan, it's like, I'm not even excited because like, well, you guys have been giving us shit for 7 years straight.
Yeah.
So now
Don't
what's
ruin
it gonna,
what those guys had.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like, so
yeah.
all you're going to do is screw
Gotcha.
those up. Like, I'm
Yeah,
not, you know,
yeah,
so
yeah.
I mean, we'll have to wait till next year, but
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting.
Anyway.
I don't know why, but it popped up on my Netflix feed there the other day. Orville.
Honestly, it's the best.
I
It's the best. It's so good.
I thought that was really good.
Yeah. I love it.
The one thing about Orville too, that I love, and I mean that's just Seth MacFarlane. The story and meaning behind every episode, like there's a lesson at the end.
Yeah,
almost.
because that's how he grew. Because that's what TNG was, and that's what the original Star
There was
Trek
a
was.
lesson at every
Yeah.
end. There was a journey of a character
Yeah.
that was going
They
through
learned
some sort
something,
of turmoil.
they didn't. Yeah,
They discovered something about
Yes.
themselves or about being in a community or cohesiveness.
and that's
or
the
whatever,
other thing.
Right?
That's the ability of doing serialized. Like that's the ability of doing stories where, you know, and the writers at Rick Berman talked about it. Actually, and it's so fucking funny. Rick Burnham helps run Orville.
Okay. Oh,
So
shit,
he
all
was
right.
from Star Trek.
Yeah.
He said TNG was having trouble the
Yeah.
first season, second season, but then they shifted. They're like, hang on, this is a Worf episode. This is a Deanna Troy episode.
Yes.
This is, you know what I mean? This is a Data episode. This
They
is
build
a
character development.
Right. So then what happens is you just start building character, and then as the season goes on, your characters get more and more filled out.
Yeah.
So that when there are things where it's everyone, it's just like Avengers, right?
Yeah.
But in television form,
care.
right?
Because
But-
you've learned something about that, and that's
Yeah.
what makes like faithful fans. It's
Yes.
like
The
make them
characters.
fall in love with the characters,
Yeah.
and then like that's the one thing I hate when they start mixing when characters start having love interests with each other, to a certain degree. Like in Star Trek, they did a good job because it was always Riker and
Troy, yeah.
There was just
From the past,
from
but
the
it was
past,
like
and then
stay
they
connected.
just and they never like hook up and are
Yeah.
officially dating or anything through the whole thing. Like
Yeah.
you know, and I love how they did that. I love how like Picard would have like these one-off love interests, but he was too hard and he had responsibilities.
Yeah.
I just like, and I don't know if it's just like maybe that's a '90s thing. Like, I mean, I grew up watching like, you remember Family Matters?
Yeah.
Carl
Yeah,
Winslow,
Carl
Steve
Winslow,
Urkel.
yeah.
Always a lesson at the end
Yeah.
of those. The original Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, I don't know what the hell happened to Will, but the original
Yeah.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, like
He didn't learn
always a
anything.
lesson. Yeah, he didn't learn nothing. But there was always a lesson. And like there were some episodes, like the one where Carlton got caught taking the drugs.
Yeah.
Man, like there's some, or like when he meets his dad and his dad's like, I
Yes.
gotta take off and he freaks out. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking like grade A1 level
Yeah.
acting,
Yeah.
storytelling.
Yeah.
Like I well up when
Yeah.
he's like freaking out about his dad and like, why doesn't he want me and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I was like, man, like this stuff is genius. Great storytelling, great character development.
Yeah.
Star Trek, same thing.
Yeah.
Great storytelling, great character development.
And the thing is, not everyone was great. Like I admit that, like
There's some-
you had
yeah.
stinker episodes.
Yeah.
But the problem, but then the thing is, when you're doing one-off episodes or two-parters every once in a while, you can have one and
Yeah.
you can shake it off,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
But the problem with new Star Trek and new shows in general, like with the streaming world,
Yeah.
they're like, okay, all we're doing is actually taking one episode and making it 8 episodes.
Yeah.
So you don't have time for character development because you're running through the story beats,
Yeah.
and you don't. And if the idea is stupid, you're not getting out. If the idea is stupid at the beginning, it's going to be stupid at the end, right? So it's just like, what are we doing here?
See, you know how I know now, this just dawned on me. How I know now that great storytelling was those. And okay, so 2 things. One, you have to have those stinker episodes so you can appreciate all the good
There's
ones.
that too.
You got to have
Yeah.
like that, like, oh,
Yeah.
what the hell happened there? Like, I'm going to go back,
We
watch
we
last
always
week's
have-
episode.
Real quick aside, I always have a joke. Alex and I have, well, it's her joke on me. But it's always, she always says, I have this like thing where when we're watching Star Trek, I'll say like, okay, babe, this is one of the best episodes of Star Trek of all time. Top 10, right? And then she's like, well, how many fucking top 10s are there? And then I'll also
Top 10
say,
list 1.
yeah,
Top
and then
10
I'll
list
also
2.
say, I'll be like, so we were watching DS9.
Oh, yeah.
And we were like, I'm like, that episode is like horrendous, unwatchable. We're going to skip it, right? Because it's like its own thing. It's garbage. We'll skip it.
Yeah.
And then TNG was the same thing. I'm like, oh, this episode's shit. We'll skip it. So like the first time we rewatched everything together, we skipped all these episodes. And then now like, she's like, no, we're going to watch like every episode. Yeah. And then when you go back, I'm like, compared to now, like those episodes are awesome.
Those are awesome. Yeah, it's like
they're pretty good, you know? Like it's just.
That's so true though. So what I was going to say was how I know that I can remember I can remember damn near every episode of TNG.
Yeah.
Right? I have trouble right now recalling episodes of WandaVision.
Yeah.
I feel like I'd almost have to go back and rewatch it.
Yeah.
And I had a week in between each episode to digest what I just watched. And I can't tell you any of the orders. I can tell you more of the emulation, like when they did the episode that emulated, oh crap,
like Full House,
or when they did the episode, that's
the different
all
decades.
I remember. But what the importance was to Wanda or her character growth or her reasoning for being where she was, other than her kids and Vision, I got nothing.
Yeah.
And so that's where it's I've lost like the. Yeah, that's wild. I've lost the
like. But how do you say that? How do you like? You literally have to.
They've lost their meaning.
Yeah, like
they had no meaning to me.
You have to tell the studios like you make better shows. Like how do you say that? Like how do you? It's such a big problem to fix.
Yeah,
because Hollywood, like their hiring pool is infected with whatever this is.
Okay, I'm gonna go a social problem right now. So I read an article literally just yesterday that kind of relates to this, and it's spawned from Ricky Gervais's new special.
Yeah.
If you have a chance, watch it.
Yeah.
Haven't yet. It's hilarious. There's definitely some like, whoa, okay, like that's pretty deep. That's pretty, But it's this whole thing against like woke. It's like the slap back to woke culture, right? But what's crazy is this article that I read yesterday and it's Canadian based, about parents not wanting to put their kids in school because of all of these woke teachers who are young. They've just come out of school in the last like 5-6 years, right? Which is really when this whole kind of woke thing kind of happened. And instead of the parents are starting to feel that the teachers are not teaching, they're preaching. So they're preaching ideas, preaching this like their version of what society should be, right? And so parents are going like, whoa. Now, this is funny because the parents are you and me.
Right.
We're the 90s kids that grew up like, work hard, play hard. You got kicked out of the house at 6 a.m, was told to come back at 7. You didn't have to wear a bicycle helmet. We're those parents. And we've got kids in schools being taught by, like you said, like that pre-30-year-olds. Like a lot of these teachers are like 25, 26, pre-30, right? And they grew up, but the generation...
Well, they're the millennial. So they are millennial kids.
Yeah.
Like, so they are the children of millennials. See, because we're barely like, so you and I are in the age group where how we were brought up, we were either brought up millennial or brought up Gen X.
Right.
But it just depended on kind of our, like, where we were in the world, like where, like geographically where we were, our access to technology, our type of parents. So like my parents were very traditional European.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. See, your situation would be different because of that influence.
So I was brought up like it's family dinner.
Yeah.
Or otherwise I'm going to beat the shit out of you.
Yeah.
You're home at midnight.
Yeah.
Otherwise
I'm
going to beat the shit out. You know what I mean? It's like there's no version of this where you don't get your ass kicked. So and with your parents would be like you're the the rural Albertan farm right?
You're traditional
values.
Move the cows, and if you don't, I'm gonna beat the shit.
Exactly, right? So it's like and then like I didn't we grew up where it was, if it was the dog days of summer, June, whatever, or not July, August, my parents were back at work. They took their 2-week family holiday we would do.
Yeah.
But then my parents went to work.
Yeah.
And it's like you'd be sitting there and it would be like Price is Right, cooking shows, or you go outside and play.
Yeah.
That's it. There's no we didn't have
But it was like freedom to go outside and play.
Yes.
You didn't have a helicopter parent.
Yeah.
You were out there like on your bicycle,
we go
meeting
on our
up
bikes,
with Timmy,
we would go,
ripping around the block, throwing water balloons, whatever, right?
Yes. So it's like we had that. We were lucky enough, but where some children our age grew up more like the millennials, where it was the technology was already like
they had Nintendos. They had
we had Nintendos too, but I mean it's just our parents but it was just a different. It came down to the parents. It was a different kind of way.
Yeah,
just a more traditional way of parenting. Whereas now, so those kids, like the 20-year-olds who are like in teaching, getting into teaching, they grew up more like a millennial.
Yes.
Right. And then also you have the whole, like, if you're in the system, you automatically start to think that way. Right. Where it's like, well, if I'm in education, well, then the unions, the lifers, all those teachers, they're like feeding you their ideas, right? So it's like, it's.
But that's the thing is, it's feeding ideas. It's like you're not the kid's parent. Just teach. But that being said, so many parents are so hands off that the teachers are probably like, "What? Yeah, someone's got to parent this kid."
You could do a whole we could do like a whole podcast series.
Absolutely,
on the problem, on like the education problem, because it is a problem.
Yeah,
because it obviously is, because people are coming out who like don't know how to function in society.
Yeah. Yeah, and like COVID made that worse. Like, I mean, I'm a little fearful for our little one, because we're like, she's super awesome, super great, but there's like that interaction piece that she has lost 2 years of.
Yeah,
where she's the only people she was interacting with
but at least
us
she was
and
doing
grandma and grandpa.
but at least she was also doing some extracurriculars, so
extracurriculars
helps, right?
and stuff like that.
But yeah, a lot of them haven't done anything, and that's like devastating because they're sponges at that age. Like, so whatever they don't have or have, it affects them.
Yeah,
and it's like. Yeah, like, I don't know, but it's like, to me, there's a problem when if I'm making a TV show and I hire 50 writers, all 50 of them are like, I want to do something that's inclusive. I want to talk. Nobody talks about the brown superheroes anymore. It's like, how can all 50 have that, want to tell the same story?
Yeah. Not going to happen.
And it's just not, well, and then the thing is it could, like, it would make sense if it's a cultural shift.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's different. If I understand I'm like an old school, like, we're old in a lot of ways, and culture changes as you go. And so from, 30, 40, 50 years, 60 years, things change. I get it. But it's like, but we know that's not the case, because every time they make a show, it sucks. So the money isn't coming in. Like, if we put a show out and we made it, or we put a movie out and it makes $1 billion, then it's like, that's what the people want. So,
see, I would love to talk to a younger person to tell us what their thoughts are on.
We should get them on. They're not going to have a good time, but we should get them on.
Just, what is your thoughts around a story
deal?
and its arc and everything, right? So
yeah.
Anyway,
I think we got to roll.
Yeah, we got to roll. Okay. The phones are ringing, so it's time to get back to
real
work.
life. Yeah,
real life and work. Awesome. Good to see you again, man. We will see you next week.
You bet. Obi-Wan.
Stranger Things.
Later.